black players on the Argentinian team? Why not? Why there is no black players on the Argentina team? Hey, welcome to another one of our YouTube videos here on SportGlobe YouTube channel. Thank you so much, fans, for joining us. Black players on the Argentinian team? Why not? Why there is no black players on the Argentina team? Why is that so? The Argentina team, that's so much Jamaicans and black, fans out there that support, superstars like Diego Maradona, Lionel Messi, and company. But yet still, Argentina team, as a World Cup team, as a national team, maybe as club teams in Argentina, do they have black players playing there? Why is that not so? That they don't have no black players on the Argentinian team? Is there a problem with Argentina and black? I really love to know, because when I look at the World Cup roster, there is so much black players that make up so much teams that you would not expect black players to be on. But I don't know. Black players are spread out all across the teams nowadays. And when you look at the teams that have black players, look on a team like France. France have so much black players on it right now. Italy, I think Italy have black players, and a lot of black players is playing in Italy. And some of these countries that we're talking about, these countries used to have heavy racism. Germany, those countries now have lots of black players on them, right? But when you think of the Argentinians, and so much Jamaicans love black players, love Argentina, but no black players not there. I came across a video recently, and I wanted to listen to it as well, because it tells the story of why there is no black players on the Argentinian team. Argentina don't like black people. Is that so? It's a big question to answer, and a big question to ask. And I want us, as black people, to even think of these things, because a lot of times we celebrate a lot of things, but a lot of times we don't follow history at all. Because right now, Argentinian population is only like 300,000 people. Right? It's 0.6 of the population. You don't hear a lot of people that is black going to Argentina as a footballing nation at all. You don't hear a lot of people even getting to play football as black people. And the Africans, they're all over the place all the time, because they seem to be the nation that loves football passionately, and they wanted to play everywhere in the world that they can earn money. Of course, football in Argentina is a big thing, huge thing. When you look at the crowds that come out for the World Cup team, maybe one of the biggest crowd in the world. But when you look at it, they don't have a presence of black people involving their sporting activities. And I know black people, they're all over the place. We try to get ourselves in many different places. We live in all of the countries that are all over the world. I'm not saying that black people don't live in Argentina. And I'm not saying that Argentina hate black people. I'm just asking the question, why is it that we never ever see a black man on Argentina? These are South Americans, and South Americans are black, and black people are quite intertwined. But is there a reason why we are not seeing, the abundance of black people, even though black people support Argentinian football right across the world? You couldn't want nobody beloved more like Diego Maradona and Lionel Messi right now, Argentinian football fans. And I'm sure black support both of those players, huge support for both of those players. But there's no black people. But I came across a young lady who did a little bit of research, it seems, and I went and I looked at it myself in terms of the whole history of why blacks are not so much, a part of the Argentinian sporting landscape. It's because there is a reason for that. But you know what? I think we black people sometimes we need to take a stock of history and we need to look at it and we need to read it and we need to ask questions why not. But a lot of times we just bypass it because we just love things and we support anything all the time. But let us look at it and take a stock of what it is and what the history is and why, and ask those questions all the time. Hey, this is my thoughts, these are my own thoughts about it. We need to think about it and think about the team that to support. Because one of the time I used to support Italy in a big way, huge way. But when I look at the history with their history and black people, it tells a story, and a story that I didn't like. So even though I love the kind of football, I don't like how they treat, my kind of people. And we need to think about things. And we need to think about how people appreciate us as black people too. Think about that carefully. But I want you to take a stop, watch this video. Let's see why there's no black players on the Argentinian side, and why we're not seeing black people in Argentina in any kind of a way, any at all. Take a listen to this video. And I want you to leave your comments with me as well. Of course, as I continue to dive into matters like these and continue to find these kind of a thing to bring to you, my subscribers, my audience, my viewers, and let's have a conversation about it. If you feel different about it, I don't know. You maybe want to, like me, stop support Italy and we'll find black people teams to support. Like I want to see a black nation win the FIFA World Cup one year. I was hoping that it would come pretty soon. The Nigerians, the Ghanaians, the Senegalese, and those countries, Morocco, one of those countries getting there at one stage. But hey, listen, let us know what you think about non-blacks on the Argentinian side. Is it that they're not good enough, or is there a problem in Argentina with black people? Listen to the video and tell me what you think. All right? Leave your comments. And of course, remember, this is SportGlobe. It's our game. It is our culture. And it is the globe that we think about all the time. Thanks so much. Listen up.
In 1800, about a third of Buenos Aires was black. And by 1875, the Argentine government had stopped counting black citizens in the census because there supposedly weren't enough left. Now, maybe it's just me, but when I hear something like that, I have questions because people don't just disappear. So, of course, I started digging. What I found was one of the wildest stories I've come across in a long time. See, a lot of people today genuinely believe that Argentina didn't have a significant black population, ever. If you ask some Argentines about Black Argentinians, they'll probably tell you that black people just came there recently, that they're immigrants, that they've always been a tiny minority. But that's not what the history says. Black people helped build Buenos Aires. Black people fought in Argentina's wars for independence. Black people helped shape Argentine culture. Even parts of the tango trace back to Afro-Argentine traditions. So how do you go from a city where black people made up roughly a third of the population to a country where people grow up believing that Black Argentinians barely exist? That's where the story gets ugly. Part of it was war. Black men were disproportionately pushed into military service and sent to fight in conflicts with devastating casualty rates. Part of it was disease. Yellow fever tore through Buenos Aires in 1871, and it hit black communities especially hard. But the more I read, the more I realize this wasn't just a story about tragedy. It was also a story about intention, because there were powerful people in Argentina who openly believed that the country's future should be white. Not that.
This episode is sponsored by J&J Garage. Top quality, cheap prices.
J Garage, we do excellent brakes and clutch repair. Pressure plates, flywheels, disc brake pad, brake shoes, clutches. Any job you have, cars, vans, jeeps, buses, trucks, and tractors. Just call J&J Garage, 1-876-408-3836, 887-7504 for all your pickup and delivery service throughout the 14 parishes.
Diverse, not multicultural. White. And unlike people today who hide behind coded language, these men wrote it down. One of the most famous was Domingo Faustino Sarmiento. He's celebrated in Argentina today. Schools named after him, streets named after him. A former president, a founding figure. And he argued openly that Argentina should be remade through European immigration. Then came something called the Blanqueamiento. Millions of European immigrants were encouraged to come to Argentina. The country changed rapidly. And while all that was happening, something else was happening too. The remaining Afro-Argentine population was slowly being erased, not just from neighborhoods, from records, from census categories, from public memory. That's the part that got me. Because when most people hear the word erasure, they picture like burning books or something. But sometimes,
Hey everyone, check out this bump-free spray. It stops the grown hair to show you just one spray. It's that easy. No bumps, no irritation, just smooth skin. Get yours today.
erasure looks a lot quieter than that. Sometimes it's changing categories. Sometimes it's deciding who gets counted, whose story gets told. And then a few generations pass. Right. And eventually people start saying there were never any Black people here. What are you talking about? And what keeps sticking with me is that Afro-Argentines never fully disappeared. Their descendants are still there. Their history is still there. Their contributions are still there. The thing that disappeared was the acknowledgement. Right. And honestly, I think that's one of the scariest forms of erasure, because once a country forgets who helped build it, it becomes a whole lot easier to pretend that those people never mattered in the first place. A third of Buenos Aires was Black. And that should be common knowledge. The fact that it isn't is part of the story.